Hello, hello. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello. It's just me and the cat. Hi, Pat. Hi, Christy. It's just me and the cat hanging out here for the moment. Because the last couple of weeks this has worked. Now, is it going to work again today? We don't know. But it worked for the last couple of weeks of starting out with him on the table. And then he'll go in the other room and be quiet, usually. If wishes are fishes, it'll work again. What do you think? What do you think? Should we try it? Oh, goodness. How's everybody? How is everybody? Yeah, so we'll just start things out with you-know-who right here on the table. I swear he knows when Friday is. Oh, sorry, the cup's a little close. He knows when Friday is. He does, because he started talking to me about 15 minutes ago. And sticking to me like glue. Oh. Hey, Angie, Christy, Nanette, Virginia, Carla, Nancy, Rhonda, Joan. Hello, Joan. Hi, Tori. I don't know why you have to get so close. Ooh-wee, that's sweet. Went and got myself a coffee, and I think they might have got a little crazy with the sweetener. Hey, Teresa, we're just chatting for a few minutes while people get settled. Joan, Sheila, Beth, hello. Hello, Mama is Learning. Sherry, Kate, hello. Well, welcome. Glad you're here for the first time. Where are you from, Kate? Hi, Terry. Hi, Nashua. Hi, Marion. Karen, hello, hello. Pouring in Pennsylvania. Wow. Cleveland. Oh, cool. Hi, Margaret. I know they can tell time. Carla, it's the funniest thing. Hi, Linda. Hi, Tracy. Why do you have to do that? Why do you have to just get half your body? See how fat he is? Any normal cat would be off screen, but no, half of him is still on screen. Yeah, half of him is still on the screen. Are you gonna lay down and just, if you're not gonna lay down and be nice, you're gonna have to go in the other room with your friend who's being a good boy. This is Chance. For anybody who's never been here before, this is Chance. Okay, are you ready to go in the other room? Huh? Are you ready to take a hike, man? So how's everybody doing? Hi, Sharon. Hi, Candy. Hi, Journey. I forgot what your name is. I'm sorry. Hi, Cheryl from Texas. Welcome. I hope you all are doing well. Sorry about the big gray body shot, but he's clearly not going to. He had hooked his feet over the front edge of the table. Cat wrangling is a job today. Hi, Jan. Hi, Lorraine. Yeah, cat wrangling is a real job today. You're a mess. Charlie's laying in the window being so good. Charlie's being so good, unlike this thing. Although he's just purring to beat the band, aren't ya? This is how he likes to be on the table. He likes to be right here in front and put his feet over the edge. That's what he likes to do. Of course, he's not going to do it now. Hi, Jane. Hi, Dorothy. Hi, Vox. Where are you from, Vox? Hi, Shannon. Good to see everybody. Hey, Lauren. So great to have everybody here. We're just waiting for a second while everybody kind of gets in, and you get to look at Chance and whatever pose he chooses to grace you with, except the rear end. We'll try to avoid that. Max has been needy today. Isn't that funny, Marion? Isn't that funny? Crazy. They're crazy sometimes. They really are. Really are. So anyway, it's so nice to have you all here. Now I've got cat hair everywhere. See what you do? See what you do to my life? See what you do to my life? You don't even care, do you? He doesn't care. He does not care. He's just a mess, this one. Charlie's being so good. Yeah, Charlie's being really, really, really good. He is a handsome boy. He knows it too, man. He knows it too. Look at those claws. Look at these claws. Where's your foot? Yeah, see those claws right there? Those are the things, the things that dig into my back leg. Sorry, those are the things on his back leg that dig into my leg. Whew. All right. Can you go in the other room now? You think you can go in the other room now? Let's try it. Okay, let's go in the other room. Come on. Oh. Yeah, you go in here with your buddy. Go in here with your friend. Be good. Be quiet. You think it'll work? You think? So anyway, cat cam we can put away now because I think we're done dealing with the cat. Hi, Barbara Clark. Hi, Mina. Hi, Shu. What time of day is it where you are, Shu? Must be evening, right? Anyway, welcome everybody. We have lots of people here from around the world, which is just great. It's so nice to have you here. And, oh, now I have cat hair all over. Oh. It's the bane of a cat. Anybody who has a cat is the staff. Dogs have owners. Cats have staff. Yes, they do. Any hoot. All right, let's get going, shall we? Hi, Robin. Done. Isn't that the truth? There was hi, Ann. There was a gal that, she was kind of the cat lady. We have several colleges and universities here. One university, several colleges, and then we have satellite colleges and universities that have places here. Not that any of them are doing much right now, but that's another story, right? And anyway, there was this one person that I was trying to get a cat from because she tends to collect cats, and she had a whole bunch of them that, you know, she was close to one of the edge, the fringe of one of the campuses, and so students are famous for getting a pet, and then when they would leave, they would just leave the animal, and which, don't get me started on that because I don't get it, but anyway, we'll just let that go. No horrible animal stories in the chat, please. And so anyway, I went over there. I was going to get a cat from her because she had this one that showed up, and I thought, well, I'll get, you know, it's a young cat, and I thought, well, that might work out. It was the only cat I've ever been around in my entire life that couldn't stand me. Could not stand me. That cat wouldn't come near me. It would go to her. Wouldn't have anything to do with me. If I took one step in the cat's direction, it would hiss and carry on and growl, and I'm like, what in the world? Anyway, I said, how do you deal with all the cat hair? Because at that point, she had like 6 or 7 cats that she just accidentally collected, you know. And she said, she says, "Oh, I just invest in these lint rollers." She says, "I have them everywhere. I have them in my car. I have them in my purse." She has them everywhere. Hey, Linda. So, yeah. Oh, goodness. Hi, Sue Ann. 11:30 p.m. Wow. Wow, Sue. That's late. But welcome. I'm glad you're here. We'll keep you company till you decide to go to bed. Let's see. Anything else I need to see? I don't think so. Oh, I know. She was quite the cat lady. She really was. Cats collect people. There you go. Cats collect people. Well, she had plenty of cats that liked to collect her, believe me. I was really going to get that cat. I was excited about that cat. It wouldn't have anything to do with me. I tried 3 times to go see it. And she was going to give it to me. And you know, she was going to go ahead and give it to me. And I'm like, and she said, "Well, you can just take it from here to the vet and have shots and all that kind of stuff." And I'm like, take it from here to the vet? It's gonna eat me alive between here and there. So take it. I don't know how you thought. Anyway, it was crazy. I got the right cats. I got these two that are very entertaining. So anyway. Oh, Friday nights are reserved for drama free. Oh, good. So it is Drama Free Friday. My name is Barb Owen, HowToGetCreative.com. I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining me. And we do this every Friday. If you're new here, hi Mary. If you're new around here, we do this every Friday, with very few exceptions. I think I only had 1 week this year that I had to take off, but I made up for that during March and April when we did a whole bunch of streams. So Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, so wherever you are in the world, if you're here right now live, you got the right time. If you're watching a recording, first of all, thank you so much for watching the recording. And if you want to join us live, we'd love to have you. So, yeah, thank you. And you're welcome to click the subscribe button, and there's a bell there for notifications and all that jazz. Anyway, I'm just really glad you're here. So let's see, what was I going to show you to start with? Any questions before we get going? And we do call it Drama Free Friday for a reason, because we stay away in this chat. I stay away from controversial subjects if at all possible. You know, because there are some there are some subjects that will light up the chat, and so I try to stay away from those. So we just leave politics, religion, and other potentially inflammatory discussions out there. We just pretend like everything's fine in the whole wide world. We just pretend it's all fine. We know it's a crazy place. We know that. We don't need to harp on it. We don't need to get upset about it, because people are upset enough. We don't need to do that, so we can just let it be out there. It's Drama Free Friday. Hello, Peg. So, any hoot. Okay. All right. So I have something funny to show you. I saw this in my room where I do my quiet time in the morning, and I thought, I just have to show it to you. If I can get my camera to cooperate with me here. Here we go. Oh, you're going to be so good. You're going to be so good. This, now there you may get a big reflection from this. This, look at that sweet little kitty cat. And that's a lot of cats on that frame, by the way. Hi, Krissa. Hi, Cindy. It's good to see you. Hi, Gail. And welcome to anybody that... hi, Kathy. I just saw your name as I was scrolling up in the chat there for a second. If I didn't call you by name, please know that you're welcome, and know that I just sometimes get busy and I don't get to see the chat a whole lot. And Clausman is in the chat, and Barbara Clark is here at the moment too, and both of them can kind of help answer questions and stuff until Barbara Clark refuses. And if she refuses to be a monitor, then I'll her moderator then I'll take her blue shirt away. Anyway, this kitty here is this was a kitten. We got this little cat as a kitten. She was 10 weeks old. I've talked about her before. This is the cat that we gave to my dad when he turned 87. So for his 87th birthday, we gave him this little kitten. Now, she's about, I don't know, probably, I don't know that she's a year old here yet. She's still pretty young. But my dad loved, and I do mean loved, to train cats, especially, because they're so stubborn. And he was equally stubborn. And, okay, Barbara's good with blue for now. That's fine. Anytime you want to rescind it, Barbara, tell me. Oh, Gail, your dad got a cat at age 87. Isn't that funny? Isn't it funny? She was such a good companion. They were not ready to have a cat, but she was the best thing that happened. Her name was Honey. He named her Honey, and he spelled it H-U-N-I, Honey. And so he taught her how to sit up. That was one of the very first things he taught her to do. We had another cat when I was a little girl who was a dark colored tabby, and he taught her to sit up and salute. And so she would sit up, and she would, I know you're going to catch a reflection from the camera or something. She'd sit up and she would paw the air with one of her feet. That was the cat that we had when I was little. Her name was Mitzi, and so she would sit up and salute. Now, Honey would not. Honey, this cat would not do anything other than she would sit up, and that was only because she was tired of him harping at her to do it. And so, yeah. So this is Honey, and she was quite a cat. She's very thin in this picture. She got very chunky. The vet always wanted her to lose weight, and she's kind of like my too. She just, no matter what, she just wouldn't lose weight. But anyway, she was the most photographed cat on the planet, I do believe, at the time. And this was before cell phones. And so my dad frequently had a camera in his hands, and so he took so many pictures of this cat, and this particular one, he loved this picture so much that he had this made into every size enlargement and wallets. And I don't know he had so many pictures of it, and every time for a while I'd go over and he'd say, "Have I given you a picture of Honey lately?" So you just go, "Oh, do you have another picture?" It was always the same one. It was always the same one. Yeah, she thinks she's a meerkat. Kitty. Oh, I'm telling you, they're so funny. So funny. So anyway, I don't know I think somebody gave them this frame for some kind of, holiday or something. So of course it had to have a picture of Honey in it. I've got an 8x10 of that as well somewhere around here. This is crazy. Anyway, the moral of the story is Honey started out here because we went and got her. She's the one that had the broken tail. I told that story a few weeks ago. She had the tip of her tail was broken, so it wasn't straight. It was straight to the tip, and then it had a crick in it. Anyway, and this is my dad here that I did this page about several weeks ago, and so yeah, that was my dad. He was the one that was owned by Honey. Anyway, so Honey started out here My dad and mom came over for his birthday celebration. Both of them were just utterly shocked about this kitten because they lived in a retirement community. They owned their own house, but it was like a cul-de-sac with all these retired people that lived there. But the covenants of the cul-de-sac, or homeowners association, I guess, was that you couldn't have pets. You could have a bird, I think, but you couldn't have any other pet. And my dad was just totally freaked out about what was he going to do with this kitten. And I said, we will get her everything done, so all she has to do is stay in the house. Nobody can control what goes on inside your house. So anytime somebody, he was really, my dad was a stickler for the rules. And so anytime somebody would come to the door and ring the doorbell, he would put Honey in the closet. Well, eventually she got to the point where when the doorbell would ring, she would just run to the closet because she knew that that's what was going to happen anyway. She'd just voluntarily go and get in the closet. So anyway, he couldn't stand the fact that that he was in violation of the rules. So they ended up building a new home. So he might not have been 87 when he got her. He might have been a little bit younger than that. Anyway, I don't remember. He either got the cat when he was 87 or built the new house when he was 87. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's totally irrelevant. He was in his 80s for both. So anyway, it was so funny. It was just so funny. Anyway, so years down the road, they're in their new house, and they'd been there for a few years. And then my dad ended up, he had heart problems and stuff. He ended up passing away. And so then we had to figure out what to do with my mom. By that point, they had 2 cats because my dad felt sorry for Honey. She needed a companion, and I'm like, oh. So we got another kitten. I helped him find another kitten. That thing was a wild thing. He was a wild man. Anyway, we found a home for him after my dad passed away. And then we moved my mom in with me. So, of course, Honey came with her. So Honey started out here. She lived in 2 other houses, and then she came back here. So she began and ended her life here with me. So she was quite a companion. She was quite a companion. So I know, Robin, I hear you, right? Okay, so enough stories. I just thought I would show you that. So let's go to the journal, and I will show you. Okay, come on. Give me a second so I can get the camera situated, okay? Just give me a second till the camera decides to cooperate. Race is coming home in a few weeks. Guess what we're going to be working on? Guess what we're going to be working on? We're going to be straightening out a few things. I don't know why it does this. So give me just a second. Sorry. All right. It's just not, it's going to cooperate right here. It's just not going to let us zoom out for some unknown reason. Anyway, so we're just going to have to scroll. We're going to have to move the book around. Maybe I can do this. Here we go. Okay, we'll use this one. Okay. So anyway, this is the finished page after I finished it up. And so this is Chance, the character. Pavlov's cat and Schrodinger's cat. I don't know who Schrodinger is. I'm showing my ignorance here. So anyway, he's all done. And what I did is I took some, this is paper napkin in the back. And what I did is I had more napkins of this kind. And so I took some of the splots, the paint splots out, because what I had over here from this page is I had a bunch of glue spots that, because this is burlap, there were a bunch of glue spots that were bleeding through that looked kind of ugly. And so I took some of the splots and I glued them onto white cardstock and then cut them out so that the white cardstock would kind of make the color still show up. And so that's what all these splots are. They're covering up the glue stuff. And there's still a little bit, but the worst ones are covered up. Anyway, there's 3 quotes on here, and these were just because I wanted to remember these. Ann Lars in the chat, and she said this. I paraphrased it a little bit. Forgive me for I have purchased. That was in response to the 100 days challenge, I think it was. 100 days of using your stuff and not buying stuff. But so yeah, Father, I think she actually said, Father, forgive me for I have purchased, which I thought was a riot. A riot. Anyway, this one says, in case you can't read it, this was the one where the grandmother said to the granddaughter, what are you drawing? The granddaughter says, I don't know. I'm not finished yet. These have really nothing to do with this. It's just stuff I wanted to remember. And Laura from New Jersey, she's the one I was in the chat and was listening while I was working. This was a week ago. And she was straightening up something. She says, I've got to quit collecting garbage. And that just absolutely cracked me up. So anyway, those things got stuck in my journal. Schrodinger is a cat killer. Virtually cat. Oh, I'm not smart. I'm not informed enough to know about Schrodinger. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. So anyway, there's Chance translated into a character. I think he turned out pretty well. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? I think he turned out pretty well. I like him. I like him. Quantum physics and paradox. Oh, no. 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 Paradox, I get. Quantum physics, the teeniest little bit. Anyway. So I think I'm going to have to do Charlie. Now I've done Muppet. So I've done Muppet. The canvas is starting to lose some paint. Good thing I have it photographed, huh? And I have Chance. So now I'm going to have to do Charlie. So I don't know. Depending on whether I get a good pose of him. Of course, Charlie will be... because he is like twice the size of Chance. Anyway, so I'm going to have to do him. And I think when Race is here, we're probably going to spend some time working on doing some merchandise things. So, thank you, Clausman. So anyway, yeah, Charlie B2 J spread. It's true. All right, so I don't know how you guys do, but for me, there's this thing called a Muse. In fact, so much so that I did a whole course around the Muse. And the older I get, the more the Muse becomes critically important in my art life. Yeah, critically important in my art life. And so I will be working on something. And this happens to me with classes for the membership at HowToGetCreative.com. It happens to me here. It happens to me for VIP classes, which, by the way, those of you that are VIP members, your class is tomorrow. Okay, your email you should have already received the email with the information. So if you didn't, check your email, check your spam, check your whatever. Anyway, and if I have a plan for something, which I have had a plan up until this morning when I was trying to wake up, and all of a sudden it was like, no, you're not going to do that today. And I'm like, oh, seriously? Seriously? Okay. Let's just hang on just a second. Okay, there we go. So you know what I decided to do? since my Muse was not going to cooperate with me, I decided what we would do is we would make paste papers. How about that? Let's make paste papers. What do you think? Does that sound all right to you? I hope so, because the Muse finally agreed with me about that. So anyway, all right, so what I have on my table, oh, good grief. Hold on. Yikes. Sorry. Give me a second. I do not know what is up here. All right. Give me just a minute. We're going to put the camera in timeout for a second. And if it doesn't cooperate with us, yeah. All right. If it decides it's not going to cooperate with us, I'm even giving it something pretty to look at. Okay. Here we go. See, sometimes putting it in timeout or threatening it help. Anyway, this is a piece of old shower curtain. And so I was going to get these mixed up ahead of time, which I didn't have time to do, because I decided to go get a cup of coffee instead. So there you go. All right, so what I'm going to do is mix up the paints right here in front of you. Hi, Becky. Oh, I love the paste papers. I really do. And I have a bunch of things here that have some layers, pardon me, have some layers of stuff on them. And then I have also some other, just random papers and some ugly scrapbook papers and stuff. So we're just going to play. The first thing I did today was I put on gloves in a bottle. So this is a shielding lotion. It just helps release the stuff from your skin a little bit more. This is not this is not one of those protectants. There are some that are far more powerful than this one. So this is not guaranteed to keep everything from going into your skin. Okay? Yes. So, but it does help release the paint and alcohol inks and stuff like that from your skin more easily. That and a Ranger Craft Scrubby, and you're good to go. Okay, so this is what I'm using. This is Elmer's Art Paste. There are videos here on my channel, 2 of them. One is Paste Paper Pizzazz, and the other one is, I can't remember the name of the other one. It's been ages since I recorded those. Ages and ages. Anyway, you can search paste paper on YouTube. It probably will bring up these videos. I don't know. Anyway, this is it's a paper mache product. It is powdered. And it comes in a little bag like this. This amount of powder will make an entire gallon of art paste. Okay? And so I have gone through those instructions in detail a number of times before. So I'm going to give you the quick rundown and then you can go from there. I make it a gallon at a time because I want to make the mess once and then I want to be done with it. I don't want to have to make the mess again. Okay? You want to put this, mix this into the water, and I use distilled water. You want something that doesn't have any stuff in it. Okay? Oh, me too, Marion. The Craft Scrubby. I'm so glad to see that it came back. It's a different color now, and they've supposedly, made it new and improved. So the Ranger Craft Scrubby, if you don't have one, it is worth every dime that you have to invest in it. It's $5 plus the shipping. It's worth it, and you might be able to get them less. I don't know. Anyway, pay the $5, and you'll be glad you did. So anyway, put some water in a bowl and use a whisk and then start whisking this powder into the water. Okay. And until you go, I just use water and then powder and water and powder until I get it mixed up. What you don't want to do is to dump this into a gallon jug of water and then try to shake it up. It just doesn't. I've done that. Doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't work. Any hoot. So once you have it mixed up, it will, it's thicker than water, but it's not super thick, but it will thicken your, it thins the paint enough that you can get it to move, and yet it will hold its shape. Now, is this bona fide? Are these bona fide paste papers that we're doing? No, that's a whole. You cook the paste and you do all this jazz. I'm not going to do that. Okay, I'm not going to do that. So I'm doing it this way because this is the cheap way. It's the easy way, and you get great looking papers out of it. All right, so I'm just going to put some of this in, and you don't need as much as you think. So I'm going to pour in, let me see how many colors I have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, I've got 12. And what I do is, let me put the lid back on here for a minute. What I do, this says drinking water, but it's not. This is distilled water. This is a recycled jug. See how it's all scratched out? And so what I do is I write on here what it is. So it's distilled water and art paste, and I wrote my instructions on here. And the original time I used this jug was in 2015. There's probably still some of the art paste in here from the original 2015. It keeps a long time. Okay, keeps a long time. All right, and I just have oh goodness, I was going to show you this while I was over here. I just have the box that I collapsed, and then I just tape it onto my jug. That way I know for sure that if I've got distilled water hanging around, that this has stuff in it. Okay, so I'm going to fill these about half full. What did I say? How many did I say I had? 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, and I think this is a 14 section ice cube tray. And this is just a plastic ice cube tray. I used to mix this up in a foam egg carton, which worked fine. However, it eventually gives out. It eventually gives out. And then you have a mess because then it leaks. All right, so about half full. All right, let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right, so I have more than plenty. You can use whatever. Oh, and another thing you want to do with this is when you store it, I recommend, I have a plastic bag here somewhere. I put it in a doubled plastic bag so that if this should happen to leak, the plastic bag catches some of it. Because somebody that I was talking to about this one time said that theirs leaked and they had a big humongous mess, and I'm like, oh, that's really sad. It's really sad. I was like, oh. Anyway, the reason I use an ice cube tray, and these what I have here, I'll get back to that thought in a minute. These are some old paints. This is art anthology. It's old paint, and so I'm gonna see if this works. See, the paint should not come out in a log. So we're going to see if this works. Most of the time I use just craft paint. But, you know, here's the deal. I have some old paints that I want to get rid of. And as long as it's a water-soluble paint, it should loosen up and dissolve into the art paste. Looks like it's going to. So that's good. That's a good thing. So it's another way to rescue paints that, in other words, that have served their purpose and have lived their lives. So they have lived their lives. So, and I just use a craft stick and I just mix them up. And the clumpier your paint, the more you're going to have to mix. The more you got to mix. So tell me in the chat, how many of you have tried doing paste papers or paste paint, whether it's this kind or the kind of paste paper that you cook. I mean, there's a whole art form around paste papers. I would not say that I am an artist with paste papers. I would say I just enjoy it. Okay, it's still clumpy, but you know, it's good enough. Good enough is good enough. All right, let's do these clumpy ones. This is another one of the art anthology paints. Not yet. Okay. Well, you got to get it out and use it. You got to get it out and just use it. All right, so we're going to squirt some more of this. See, look, this paint is not meant to come out like this. Not meant to come out like that. It's supposed to be thin enough that you can write with the tip. But how long have I had these paints? Well, let's see, I've had them for probably 4 or 5 years. I mean, the fact that they're still kind of liquidy is pretty remarkable. Beautiful colors, but they've lasted as long as they're going to last, and so we're just going to use them for other stuff, right? So I may have to stir these up a little bit more. The first person I ever learned this from was a friend of mine, and she had been given a bunch of embroidery paints. I forgot the name of the company, Trichem or something. That back in, gosh, I don't know how many years ago, that was quite the thing, and you could paint, like embroidery designs, you painted with these paints, tubes of paint, and somebody gave her a whole bunch of those that were ages old, and those things worked fine because they were still, this is another one of those same paints. Bless their hearts. These paints, bless their little pea-picking hearts. These paints have, yeah, see that? That's not, they're not supposed to look like that. Paint is not supposed to look like that. Hey, APG Jamie. Jamie, I watched your grass journal video. She made out of like AstroTurf type grass. She made a journal cover out of that. I have a whole bunch of that stuff. I'm like, man, that's a good idea. I would never have thought of making a journal cover out of artificial grass. That's a fun video. So if you haven't seen that, check out APG Jamie's channel. Ooh, this one is almost past its ability to smash up. All right, we'll work on that one a little bit later. We're going to let it try to hydrate itself. These paints actually have some sparkle in them, so that's why I decided I was going to use them. Made your first after the original demo. Oh, cool. I bet it is, Jamie. I bet it is. Okay, so this is Martha Stewart's craft paint, and people always want to ask me, you know, like how much paint do you put in? I just squirt it in. I just literally squirt it in and mix it up. If it doesn't seem right, I'll add some more art paste. If it seems, you know, whatever, I just play with it until I get the consistency and the color I like. This is not one of those deals where there is a definitive answer. But the paint does, it should pretty easily dissolve, thin down, whatever you want to say, pretty easily in the art paste. All right, so that was a Martha Stewart paint. I'm using kind of pastel colors because I typically don't do that, so I thought I would do that this time. This is an Americana. This is Spa Blue. The other color that I used was she puts the colors in a weird spot. This one, Beach Glass. Beautiful color. I don't know if she still makes, if that company still manufactures paint or not. Hi, Jean. Hi, Lori. I don't know if I said hello. Hi, Sophia. Okay. Sophia. I call you Sophia. And a whole bunch of people call you Safia. I want to know, how is your name really pronounced? Because in my mind, it's Sophia. I need to know. Inquiring minds need to know. Hi, Miss Allie K. There's a question above. Okay, let me scroll back up because I didn't see it. I'll scroll back up while I'm mixing paint here. I have it right, Sophia? Okay. Hi, Chris. Yeah, that's right. Okay. I don't see it, so put it in again. Put in the question again because I don't see it. We know how I am about keeping up with the chat. All right, this is another Martha Stewart paint, and this one is Hydrangea Purple. I know that, Sophia. I can tell you answer to most anything. So I need to restock on my paints. I know this is bloody boring to watch me stir paint into these. However, I didn't get it done beforehand. So those of you watching the recording, scroll on by. Scroll on by. Those of you here watching live, you'll just have to indulge me. The reason I use a thing like this, an ice cube tray, something with a flat bottom, is because I find that it's much easier to keep it from tipping over. Oh, is Mandala Madness included? No, but you, as a VIP member, you do get a significant break on the cost of the course. So it's yeah, that's the answer. If you have any other questions, just if you go to the website and click on the support ticket and fill out the support ticket, we'll be glad to, either I will answer you or the tech department, because I don't answer all the tech emails and stuff, but I do answer some of them. So you can always find out information by filling out a support ticket. Sometimes it takes us a little bit to get to it, but just depending on who's got the time to answer. This is Americana Baby Pink. The craft paints mix up really well because they're pretty liquid to start with. This is lavender. And oh, this is a new one. Gracious. A new bottle of paint, man. How'd that happen? I was trying to use up stuff. Okay. You know, while I'm doing this, one of the crazy things in my life is that nothing stays the same. You know what I mean? When I started out doing computer stuff just a couple years ago, man, I would learn it. I would write it down, whatever. You fill in the blank with whatever it was, whatever the it is. I'd write it down. I'd have the directions. I'd have the, push this, click that, do this thing, do that thing. And then they started getting so smart and they started changing stuff on me. Okay, this color is electric pink. yeah, they started changing stuff on me. And so then I had to start, and you know, a lot of the programs and stuff, back then they were called programs, a lot of those stayed the same for a while. And then they got smart and they started updating all this stuff. And then it got to where I'm having to learn and relearn and learn something new. And, you know, now this program they don't support anymore. And now they're not programs, they're apps. You know, they don't support this thing anymore. And they don't support that thing anymore. So now you don't have any choice but to get the new, improved, whatever. You know what I mean? Okay, this color is neon orange. I don't know what this is going to look like as a paste paint. And this is a Craft Smart. Neon orange, Craft Smart. When I first learned how to do this particular paste paper stuff, whatever this is that I do, when I first learned about this, she had them all mixed up in paper cups, and I tried that, but man, I kept dumping the paper cups over, so I went to something with a flat bottom. And somebody actually took pity on me. Whoops. Well, that color's going to have some yellow in it. And actually sent me this ice cube tray because my egg carton that I was using kept springing a leak. Yeah, so I accidentally slapped some yellow over into my neon orange, so we'll just mix it up. So anyway, so yesterday, Ray says, I want to put a new app on the computer. And I'm like, that always means trouble, people. That always means trouble. Because if he's going to put something new on my computer, that means I got to learn it. That means I got to learn it. I'm telling you, all this computer stuff is either going to make me really old, really fast, or it's going to keep me young. We don't know which. The jury is still out on that one. Yeah. So, I know, annual subscriptions, monthly subscriptions, it's, you know, it's what it is. Believe me, if we added up all the monthly subscriptions that I pay for, I don't even add it up. No, I don't even add it up. Makes my eyes roll back in my head. Okay, so that was whatever that was. This color, oh, it was a Craft Smart Bright Yellow. This one is Citron Green, Americana Citron Green. So it kind of looks like a whole bunch of Easter eggs here, right? But I wanted to do some things that were a little more pastel-ish. And hopefully you can see kind of what the paint consistency is. It's like, I would say it's like heavy cream. That's what I would say it's like. I know, I love citron. Hey, Jersey, I was talking about you a little bit ago. Laura, you're in my journal. You're immortalized in my journal, Laura. Your comment about, let's go back and see if we can make this one mix up a little bit now. Your comment about you had to quit, I don't know if you even remember this, but it was last week you said you had to quit collecting garbage. And I laughed so hard, I wrote that down. So I put it in my journal. Yep. So you're right there in my journal. Tonight is the hop. And I'm glad Laura showed up because then it reminded me. The Mariotier, and I know Laura's part of it. I don't know who else is. So starts at 6 o'clock. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it starts on the Marriottier channel, right? And Laura says she has not quit collecting garbage. Okay, that mixed up better. That's good. Okay. All right, and I did all of that with one craft stick. See? And then you have a pretty paper towel to boot. See the sparkles in it? Those sparkles that you see coming glinting off the paper, that's coming from these three. Those are art anthology paints, the ones that came out looking like logs. Okay. So, the one thing I do on these paints is I use foam brushes, and I use, generally speaking, I use one foam brush per color. And I know foam brushes are cheap, but I rinse them out. I have had these foam brushes for a long time. Some of these for years, like this one I've had for years. I don't throw them away. Some people do. And I don't, because I think there's no point in throwing them away. I'm going to get all these paints out of the way here. I don't throw them away because I think it's kind of wasteful. So, anyway. All right. Yeah, it's 6 o'clock, right? And Laura's in the hop too. Okay, so Anne's here. It's a live hop, as I recall, correct? Is that right, Laura? It's a live hop. It's not a recorded hop. I think it's live. Starts at 6 Central, I believe. Okay, so I've got my paints. All right, we'll just put the paints up here, so hopefully you can see. This is an old shower curtain that had given up the ghost. I have some mark-making tools, 6 o'clock Central. Okay. So these are some mark-making tools. I'm zoomed out pretty far just so you guys can see, I think, most of what I'm doing. And these are some foam stamps. These don't work as well. The foam stamps don't work as well with paste papers, but I keep trying because I keep thinking I'm determined to make them work. They don't work so well. Texture tools work great. So I got out all of those, which I may or may not use. And then Sophia's going to be sleeping. Aw. Hey, Marilyn. And then these are, let's see, style sticks. Is that what they're called? Yeah, style sticks. STYLESTIX. So these are foam tools, and these work really well, especially the wedge ones work really well as good mark making tools. Okay? All right, so that's what I've got, a little pile of tools. I also have a big thing of plastic on the floor to set the papers on. And then I'm going to show you the papers that I have. I have not used any of this to do paste paper stuff on top of, but I thought I would because I have 3 boxes of this. Don't ask. I don't know how that happened. Anyway, we're going to use some of this because I have a bunch of it. So I've torn it into some usable sizes, and so I'm going to try that. We'll see how it works. I don't know if it'll work. I would think it would, but, you know, hard to say. Hard to say. I also have a bunch of other papers here. So we'll see. I don't know how many we'll be using, but I have just some plain colored, super bright. This is 11 by 17 paper that doesn't have anything on it. And then I have a bunch of scrapbook papers here that some of them have had some stuff punched out of them and what have you. These are scrapbook papers that I'm never going to use. I'm never going to use these for anything, and so that's why I have them here. These plain papers I'm not going to mess with. These are cardstock, so I'm not going to use those. Can you imagine trying to turn this into paste paper? That's a good challenge, isn't it? Anyway, so what I'll probably do, I don't know why these have holes punched in them, to tell you the truth. I don't know what I was doing with this. We're just going to cut those off. Yeah, we're just going to cut those off, because who cares? Clearly they have lived their life, and if I run into some more of those, I'll do that. So I'm just going to get rid of the holy parts, because it'll be easier. I'm telling you, I have no idea what I've punched these circles out for. But there's absolutely no, I'm not going to use them for anything else. So we're going to just turn them into something I will use. So old scrapbook paper is good. Any kind of paper that you would not otherwise use. And I often start out with a layer of stencil that I spray through. I especially like spraying through with dilutions. I don't know that I have any here to show you what they look like to begin with. I like the dilutions or any other water-soluble sprays, but I didn't do that to start on these. And this one, these are paste papers, but I want to put some more on them. This was actually, I don't know if you can see the outline. Can you see the outline over here? All right, come on, camera, be nice. Be nice. If you don't behave, I will go to a different camera. Anyway, there's an outline on here. It's a pattern. And so I just go right over the top of that. I don't think I have any of them here that you can clearly see the stenciling on. You might be able to see it on this one. You see this design on here? That is dilutions spray through a stencil. And I like the dilutions because it is so highly water soluble. And then when you come back over the top of it with the paste paint, it just does some great stuff. But anyway, you don't have to do that. Okay. Nightbot is our friend. I could use it as a stencil, but you know, it went in the trash instead. All right, let's see if this is going to work with this tissue paper, shall we? I don't know if it'll work or not. Let's just try it. And the secret to paste papers for me is lots and lots of layers. Lots and lots of layers. And if it looks really ugly when you start out, it's okay. You know, it's okay. So I work pretty fast when I'm doing these, and I don't necessarily blend the colors together, and I don't necessarily do one color on the paper. So I work fairly fast. If my head gets in the camera, apologies, but you know, it's the way it is. Okay, so it's wet, okay? It's wet. And then you just pick up something and texture it. And often the texturizing doesn't show up until you go to subsequent layers, okay? All right, so we'll see how this works. I don't know if it's going to work or not. You can see some of the texture there, and it will hold its texture. The paint holds the texture. The paste and the paint hold the texture. And yet it dries fairly quickly. Okay, let's come over one of these because it's just the next one in the stack. So let's use this neon orange. I don't know what it's going to look like. Well, ugly to start with. Yeah. That's ugly. And you just don't judge the, I mean, I told it was ugly, and it is, but don't judge it at this stage of the game. You just keep going. The thing about it is, if you get a layer that's just butt ugly, which you can, it's easy to get one that's butt ugly. You just put another layer on after it's dry. Okay, so let's do this one. All right. Let me see if I can come in a little tighter without just totally freaking everybody out here. And hopefully you can see these lines that it's making in the paint. Can you see those lines? I think. And then I'm just going to take one of these wedge style sticks and just put some marks in. It's just about making marks. It is not about anything other than just making marks and adding layers and layers. And this started with a piece of ugly scrapbook paper, that's what the stripes are, and some stenciling. And it has 1 or 2 coats of paste color on it already. Okay? And then I just set them on the floor and let them dry. So I have a big sheet of plastic down there on the floor. So let's come over this one and see what it does. Let's use, how about this purple? Let's see what this does. And I realize I'm not watching the chat here, but Clausman's watching the chat. So if you got questions, he can send me a text message to remind me to look at the chat if need be. And I don't know if Race is here today or not. He's been really busy lately. So, okay, so we got some purple. Let's do this light blue just because. And then because this egg carton, or did I call it ice cube tray? It will support the brushes. And it'll hold the brushes, I don't know, it's magic. Holds the brushes upright for the most part. I don't know if it's my ice cube tray or if it's all ice cube trays that do that, but it's like magic. It's a magic trick. All right, so I'm just going to kind of blend these together a little bit. And then you can see the lines going this way, so I'm going to go the opposite way. And this tool that I'm using, this is a Martha Stewart striping tool. It was in her faux finish tools that she had a while back. So if you can find something like that, it works really well. And then I'm just going to use this and just kind of mess this up a little bit because it was a little too much. The thing about working with these paints is you cannot dally around with them too long because the paint does start to dry. So you got to get it on there and make marks through it. And keep going, and don't let yourself, this is another ugly scrapbook paper, don't let yourself, and this has had 1 or 2 layers of the paste paint on it ages ago. Don't let yourself get too caught up in what they look like at the moment, okay? Because if you do, you're going to be disappointed. All right, that color is not going to work. Let's go to this one. This one was this art anthology paint needs to go on something else because it's too transparent. Too transparent. That didn't work worth the bean. Not worth a bean. Let's put a little bit of this on it. So you need to have the paints have some enough pigment in them that when you mark through them, they will show something. So those art anthology paints may be toast. They may not work for this at all, but you know, sometimes you just gotta try it. And I can't emphasize enough that you gotta move. You cannot, if you're someone who likes to be really slow and methodical at what you do, this is not your thing, because you got to put it on and mark through it. Okay, you got to get the stuff on there and make the marks and move on. But every time I put a layer of paint on this, that scrapbook texture is going to recede. Hi, Alicia. It goes further and further down in the, it recedes down. Same thing with this. This is scrapbook paper, and it's already had some paint on it, maybe 1 or 2 layers. Had to have a coffee break. And so let's, I don't know, let's see what this does. I don't know what this will do. Sometimes you put something on, you go, oh man, that was the worst thing ever. And without exception, I will tell you that the uglier the result is, you know, if I think it's just the worst thing that I've ever done in my entire life, 9 times out of 10, those become my absolute favorite papers down the road. But I do love starting with the stencil in the beginning, especially one that's got big, not big, but maybe inch circles in it. It's a circle grid from Crafter's Workshop, which I don't know if they still have anymore. I absolutely love that stencil. And if you start out with that, with some dilution sprays, and then come back over it with the paste paint, you can just get some great looking stuff. Okay, so there, that one is going down. It's going down. All right, let's come to one of these that, this is a piece of scrapbook paper that has nothing on it. And let's put some green on it. So this has had nothing on it. No layers of paint, no stenciling, no nothing. This ought to be really horrendous, so let's try it. Yeah, the neon colors are so translucent. That's all right. Got to use them up. Got to use them up. It is messy, and so you do want to have something on your surface, because otherwise you're gonna drive yourself crazy cleaning up later. But the paints change as they dry, and so, you know, you can look at it now and go, oh no, that's just awful, horrible. And then there's something magic that happens as the paints dry and they change and they just start doing some interesting things, and that almost looks like you're looking down through the surface of the water, doesn't it? neons and craft paint are very they really are. Yeah, they really are. So transparent, translucent. I'm going to have to get out a new place to put papers here. So give me 1 second. I got to spread out some more plastic. This is something that you don't want to do when you have cats out running around. Because if you do, cats, guess what they do? Guaranteed, guess what they do? They will walk right through it every cotton picking time. Want to know how I know that? Want to know how I know that? I love this color. Oh, gosh, that's a gorgeous color. Oh, this is pretty. And this was a jelly print there. So let's see if we can make this. Nope. I don't know why I keep trying. I don't know why I keep trying to use stamps on these. Because I'm just determined it's going to work. And you know what? It just doesn't. Just doesn't. Go back to what you like. Go back to what you like. All right. And then let's... And I tend to wipe off the tool in between pulls. Like that. I've done this also on book pages, and it's really nice on old newspapers also. Okay. Yep, walk across wet cement. Darn cats, I'll tell you what. Okay, let's do this one. I should probably save him for something, but you know what? I'm not going to. Yeah, not going to. Let's do, let's go over it with this one. You can use the paste paint, which is what I call this, for lots of different applications. It's really good in altered books to tint pages and stuff like that. But this is my favorite thing to do with it. My very favorite, all-time favorite, is to make papers. And when my stash of paste papers gets low, I start to get a little panicky, just a little panicky. Okay, so can you see, even in just one layer, the pattern begins to go down. Okay. And I have a ceiling fan going on in here, which is drying the paint really fast. So I'm having to work quicker than normal. Quicker than a minute. Quicker than a minute. You can put one color on. I just tend to like putting a couple of colors because then I get variation. That was the citron. This is yellow. So you can see, maybe see the difference. There is a difference between the two, although not a great deal of difference. More ugly scrapbook paper going on here. And if you did the very same pattern the whole time, all the way across the paper, it would be fine. If you did it on every single sheet that you do, that would be fine too. And then the next time you come through with another layer, add a different color, different pattern. Ooh, that'll knock your socks off, won't it? That will knock your socks right off. I can see that as I'm looking at the Tim Holtz tissue paper, because it's not very absorbent, it's not wanting to work very well. All right, let's see if we can see if this will do anything. Ugh, there's just nothing to that. There's just nothing to that paint. There's just nothing to it, so we're going to forget about that one. Go back to the craft paints. So stop using that, Barb. Stop using that. It doesn't work, okay? It doesn't work. It hasn't worked the last 3 times you've used it. It's not going to work the next time either. Hey, Nancy. Whew. Yeah. Well, welcome. Okay, so, all right, let's go. Just draw some scribbly scribblies. But I love what it does to papers that I have no use for any other time. You know, it just begins to make them more interesting right off the bat. That Tim Holtz tissue paper is so, you know, like waxy that it's not allowing the paste paint to do anything but sit on the top at the moment. Can you see how shiny it is? See those things of... So we're just going to let those sit. I thought it might work really well. Yeah, not so much. That's all right, not so much. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you end up making good choices for papers or paints, but you don't know unless you try it, you know? You don't know unless you just get it out and try it. And this isn't going to show at all until we get some other layers on it because it's so busy. So busy. You can just barely see anything happening on that. But it's tinted the background, so, you know, do it and move on. I'm going to add this, I don't know, we'll see what this is. See if there's anything in it. It's a blue. See, I really want to stay with the pastels and I can't make myself do it. I can't. I got to have some more color. It's just not enough. Don't have enough choices. And that's too thin, so I'm going to add some more paint into it. It's a funny balance of paint and the art paste. You just kind of have to get a feel for it. But this is a great way to use up little bits of paint, unless they're super transparent like this, which is pointless. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some paint into those. I'm just going to add some craft paint into those and see if we can salvage them. So I've added Bahama Blue into that one. And this is Pistachio Mint. So maybe we can salvage the sparkles from the art anthology paint and thicken, get some more pigment in it from the craft paint. Craft paint is my favorite paint to use on these, by the way. All right, let's go for this one. All right, let's see if this did anything. All right, this is the one that I added some pistachio mint into. All right, that helped out a little bit. Let's try this one. This one has a glossy finish on it. This design is in like embossed, but that's the way it came. But I'm not fond of the paper, so that's why we're just gonna see what we can do to it. All right, so okay, that worked fairly well. Okay, if you look at it, you can see the zigzags from the stylus stick, and you can see the lines from the other tool, right? Okay, moving on. All right, I'm going to see if any of the original sheets are dry enough to put another coat on. And the papers will curl up on you. I'm just going to dab off the little wet there. The papers will curl on you. And this paper is a little bit still a little damp, but we're gonna move on any hoot. Okay, so let's use this dark blue. One of the things that you can do with this stuff that's really cool is you can press like parchment paper. You can put parchment paper on top of this and then let it sit, and it will, the parchment paper wrinkles up and makes a really great texture in the paint. Okay, so Now we're talking. Yeah, now we're talking. Now we're talking, people. Now we are talking. It's just like jelly plate printing. It takes a minute for you to get your rhythm, get your colors sorted out, get your patterning sorted out. Now we're talking. Look at that. Yeah, it is kind of like that, Sophia, kind of like that. I'll show you here in just a second. See, now we're talking. Now, do you see that the stripy pattern that was in the background, which you can see a lot still down here? That's the original scrapbook paper. But you see, as the layers build up on it, see how that just goes further and further down. And then if you have a spot like this, sometimes if the paint is still damp, you can come in and you can add some additional marks. But this only works while the paint is good and damp, because see, as soon as it starts to dry, it's not, you can't make any more marks in it. See? Yeah, now we're talking, people. Now we're talking. Okay, Sophia, this is for you. This little book is one I did, I don't know how many weeks ago. This is watercolor paper, and this is paste paint in here. Okay, this is paste paint. And what I did was I painted it, painted the color on, and then this is parchment paper, baking parchment. And I put that in there and then flipped the page, painted the next color, put the baking parchment in, and kept going. And the baking parchment is, see the wrinkles in it? In a perfect world, you can see the wrinkles in it. See that? And that is what textured the paint. I didn't do anything else to that. That's what textured the paint. So that's what you can do to alter a page. And then I just keep these because they're perfectly usable, and I had cut them down size-wise. I had cut them down so that they would fit those pages of that book. Boy, don't you hate it when you break a perfectly good clothespin? I'll have to go back and see if I can put it back together. Anyway, okay. All right, so that was for Sophia. All right, let's see if I can get another piece of this paper. How about this one? Let me get rid of the holes, because they're just going to irritate the stew out of me, so I'm going to get rid of those. You are welcome. You are welcome. It is one of my favorite things to do with this paint. One of my favoriteest things. Alright, so let's do that, and let's do this. This is another piece of scrapbook paper. And this is that one that I added the pistachio mint into it. I don't know that you can tell how quickly I'm moving, but I am not letting any grass grow under my feet when I do this. And there are all kinds of really lovely patterns that you can look up. If you start really getting into paste papers, you can, it's kind of like marbling. You can get some really lovely patterns that you can do, you know, bona fide patterns. You can barely see that, but it is there. You can kind of see if I tilt it in the light. Yeah, kinda. All right. I'm gonna get another piece that we've already done. That's dry-ish. So we did this one earlier. So let's see what else we can do. These are particularly wonderful if you do them with metallics. I mean, they are really beautiful if you use metallic paint, metallic craft paint. Oh, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay. So let's do some purple. And don't stress out about colors, like, I want to pick the right color. No, don't stress out about that. Slap it on, texture it, move on, okay? Don't stress out. I have one color on here I haven't even put a brush in yet. How sad is that? Gotta give it some love here in a minute. Okay. So let's see. That you can get into learning all the different patterns and all that, you know, and you can do some really beautiful things. You know, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't do that. Like I would lie to you. Don't you hate it when somebody says, I'm going to be honest with you? Or, honestly, you know they're getting ready to tell you a big fat story, right? I don't pay any attention to fancy things. I just go for it. I just draw into the paint. Just see what happens, right? Just see what happens. I can tell you that my favorite papers that I've ever done are the ones that were the absolute worst when I was making them. The absolute worst. Okay. But it's amazing how this fine detail like that does not slump back together. Let's see how those leaves are just going, they're just down, down, down. They are going down below the surface. And when you get tired of doing it, like the layers, like you're like, no, I'm really tired of this color, or I'm really tired of working on this piece of paper, then stop. Just stop, right? Just stop. All right, let me turn this around. Every once in a while I find that it helps if I switch my paint container around, so that way I'm using other colors. I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely love doing this, especially if I'm using up papers, and you can do this on cardstock or paper, it does not matter. You can do it on printed paper, you can do it on Newspaper, as I said, newspaper gets really fragile. So you particularly have to be really careful with that. Okay. So about 2 seconds ago, that was super red and had a lot of red and a lot of black, and it was pretty bad. It's getting a little better. Bit by bit, they get better. All right, let's see what we can do this. See, this has got cuts in it and everything. Alright, I'm just trying to flatten this out a little bit. Alright, what color shall we use? Let's use this. I have this pink that I haven't used at all. I don't know. Let's see what it looks like. It's helpful if your paper doesn't have any cuts in it. But I'm just using it bits of this and bits of that. But this is like the opposite of jelly plate printing. Jelly plate printing, whatever is on the bottom is what you're going to see the most of. Okay, don't touch that anymore. Where with this, whatever is, you're building the layers. So the last thing that you put on is going to be the most prominent. Hope that makes sense. I hope that makes some kind of sense. One of the things that I like to do when these are dry is come back with paint pens or the Moonlight Jelly Rolls and doodle on top of them. If you remind me, somebody remind me when I get done here in about another 15 minutes, I will get out, I think I can put my hand on the book that I made that is all paste papers, in case you haven't seen it. It's just plain old acrylic paint with art paste mixed into it. If you should be able to just scroll back in the live video and see it, probably 20 minutes into the video, you should be able to see how I did it. But now see, would you know that that had a marbled paper to start with? Hey, Ellie. Isn't that cool? I love that. Yep. I do. All right, let's work on this one. Let's see. Oh, let's go with this dark color. Yeah, contrast is very helpful when you're doing this. So if you contrast colors from one layer to the next, it's very helpful. So yeah, if somebody will remind me to show you the book, I think I can put my hand on it. And that's all it is. It's a book of just paste papers. It's not, I didn't do anything else in the book, just made the paste papers. But don't remind me now. It will not help to remind me now. Just saying. Okay. All right. Who could not love that? Who couldn't love that? Yeah. See? Cool, huh? Okay. All right, this is that tissue paper. I'm going to hit this with the heat gun a little bit just to see, because it is still wet here. Still wet. Goodness. Clearly, this is not a great choice for doing this technique, but I want to. See, if all else fails, dab it. Dab it. Okay. Dry enough. All right, let's use this. And this is just Tim Holtz tissue paper. I just wanted to see if it would, because I have so much of this one pattern. Don't ask. I don't know how it happened. Don't know how it happened. Stuff happens. So I just ripped off. I have actually several pieces of this I was going to do, but I wanted to try one before I get the paint on all of it. Okay. It doesn't have, just because of its nature, it doesn't have any rigidity, so it wants to wrinkle up as you draw through it, but that's just going to be the nature of a thin paper like this. But it's pretty strong, although it's thin. All right, so what that did was obliterate the pattern below. But when it dries, it may be a little bit different. Who knows? Who knows? The jury is definitely out on this. Jury is definitely out on this. And sometimes when you look at stuff from the opposite side, I'll mess this up showing it to you, but here, let me go this way. Sometimes when you look at something from, oops, well, we got an interesting print that way. Sometimes when you look at it from the back side, you'll still get some of the image. It may look better. In other words, it may look better from the wrong side than the right side. All right. Let me get some of the other ones that we've done. Okay, so these are some we did a little bit earlier. So this one is kind of wet still, so I'm just gonna dab it so we can go on. Hi, Mir. Paste paint over gesso. What I'm trying to do is, no, to answer your question, no, I didn't. I haven't done that. And what I'm trying to do was I was trying to get the pattern to still be present. So gesso, I think, I don't know, might be worth, a clear gesso might work. I don't know. We just have to try it and see. I don't want to completely obliterate the pattern, which I pretty much have succeeded in doing over here. So I just added a couple more colors. Whew, that is some kind of ugly right there. Whew, goodness. But ugly. But you never know. Might be my favorite before it's all over with. Don't judge a paper by its first or second layer. Don't do it. Yeah, you can use wallpaper paste. You can also use liquid starch if you can find it. I just really like this, the paste paint. It's just, you know, it's what, part of it is what you have access to and part of it's what you like, you know. All right, I'm just gonna okay. So I just did some big old stripes to reveal a little bit more of what is below. Just because. All right, I need to put something else in this one other color I've got going in here. Something to thicken it up. See if we can put a little bit of yellow in this, because this is another one of those really transparent ones. The more, if you have more, all right, well that one's about gone. The more pigment you have, apparently, the better this works. Or maybe it's the filler in the craft paint. I don't know. Well, all right. I'm going to find one of these that's got some paint in it in a minute. This is one of those that's got some sparkle in it, but it's too transparent to even get an effect. So if you put something that's got a little more pigment in it, you can still use up the paint. Yeah, so that's a good thing. All right, so this is a yellowish. You can always come back over the top with another color if you think you might like a different color better. But what I was trying to get out of these was I was trying to make myself do some pastel-ish papers. Some pastel-ish papers. And I'll try to remember to show you all of these next week, if I can remember. Show you how they dried out and what they look like. So there's that one. This one's got some pretty good ridges in the paint. That little puppy's going to take a while to dry. Okay, so let's go to, turn this around again. Let's do this purple. All right. It is messy business. But it cleans up. Things clean up pretty well. Okay. So you have that little bit of pattern in the background from the scrapbook paper. And, you know, and rarely do I use an entire sheet of this. It's just like a jelly plate print. Most of the time I cut and, you know, cut pieces out of. In other words, I select things, right? All right, let's see. This one needs some help. This one needs help. Whew, this one needs some help. All right, we're going to send you down to the deep. This color of blue, I never liked this color. Apple Barrel 2 Blue. Man, it's nice on this. What a good choice, Barb. Patting herself on the back. What a great choice for color. You realize the reason I chose it was because it was almost empty. Not because I was so smart. Yeah. So the keys to success are work quickly, get the consistency of your paint, and layers of color. Okay, see how much better that looks? Look how much better that thing looks. Oh my goodness. See, don't stop. Don't stop layering the paint. Yes. Oh, I gotta stop and have a little drink of coffee. We're going to do 3 more pieces. That's when you know you've had a good day in the creative space. And I didn't even tell a bunch of stories this time. All right, let's go with, oh, I'm going to come over here to use a contrast color, Barb. Use a contrast color. Listen to me talk to myself. Clearly, I like that lavender because I'm about to use it up. And these paints will hold for a few hours, but they're not going to hold forever. They're going to dry out on you. It's craft paint, so there you go. It's craft paint. You haven't invested a bunch of money in the paints. All right. This one is drying out on me up here. All right, let's put a little more paint. So colors are good. Patterning on that was crappy. Let me just show you what you do if the patterning is crap, which this is. Take your paint and go right back over it. Okay, take your paint, go right back over it. I'm just going to go over the whole thing because I don't have any more of that really over that purple. So I'm just going to go over the whole thing. Okay, so and then you then you can go again. Otherwise, you need to wait until it's completely dry. Okay, so that was how to get rid of what you didn't like to start with. You just go over it again real quick. All right, we're going to do 2 more pieces, and then we're going to call it a day. Ooh, this poor thing. Ugh, poor thing. Poor ugly thing. Okay, let's is there any hope for you? There will be. All right, let's come over here. When it's too ugly, then you know you've got a few more layers you're going to have to put on it. You know you're just going to have some more layers you're going to have to add. If it's too ugly for words, you're going to have to add more layers. But every layer is going to give you some more fun stuff to have happen. All right, let's go this way. You do need, sorry, my throat has about had it. I don't know how people stream for hours and hours and hours. My throat can't take it. Anyway, I digress. I don't know what I was going to say. Something. I'm sure it was profound. So I got out all those foam stamps for nothing because once again, the foam stamps let me down. They let me down. Not the fault of the stamps. They're just not meant for this. So this is going to take at least another layer, but it's beginning to finally show some promise. Finally showing a little bit of promise. We're getting enough interest on it that it's driving that stripy pattern down, and we're getting some interesting things on that. One more piece of paper. And sometimes I fully intend to go over papers more and more, you know, with additional layers. And then I don't get back to it, and I don't get them done, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess it's done. I guess that layer's done. I guess that paper's done for now. But then sometimes like this, I'll come back and work on it months later. These make wonderful card backgrounds. There's just all kinds of things. They make great backgrounds for ATC Artist Trading Coins. They make wonderful bookmarks. There's just all kinds of things they do. All right. The final hurrah. The final hurrah. All right, let's see. What shall we do with this one? Let's go this way. Okay, so I'm going to let this one sit. But you can see that those little faces on there, the Santa faces, they're beginning to recede, and yet they're still there. Okay. All right, let me fold this up and get some of this mess out of the way. This is messy. It's not quite as messy as jelly plate printing, but close. Close. And then I'll go get my book. If I can put my hand on it. I think I can. I think I can. All right, now I want you to see all this mess right here. See this? You got to put this out of your way, because if you don't put this out of your way, you will hit those paintbrush handles. I know this. So, all right, give me a second. Let me go put this away, and I'll see if I can find the book. Okay, so let me slide all this garbage out of my way here. I'm really glad I kept that shower curtain. It's been very handy for a few things. Okay, hey Judy, hi Kimberly. They're really fun. Barbara, you would have a ball with them. You would have a ball. Paste paper projects. All right, this is the book I was talking about. Right here. See? And this is a locker hooking spine. That's what this is. Locker hooking. There is a video here on YouTube that I talk to you and show you about locker hooking. And that is the spine that I used on this. Okay. Give me a second till I get my camera situation sorted. Okay. Now it's going to cooperate with this. Sometimes it just wants its own, it wants privacy. It wants privacy so it can focus itself. So frustrating. Oh, anyway. Okay. So, come on. I could call this camera all kinds of names and then it would just be deadly after that. This is the stencil I was telling you about. This is that Crafter's Workshop stencil with the holes. It's called Circle Grid. I don't know if they make it anymore, but it is my favorite. It comes in 2 sizes. This is the 12 by 12. This other piece back here in the back, that's a piece of fencing. It's plastic fencing that they use when they're doing an outdoor. Clausman could probably tell you exactly what it is. But it's outdoor fencing where they have to, by law here anyway, they have to put the stuff up to keep. All right, we're just not going to mess with that. We're just going to come over here and we're just gonna look at it from a different perspective. Yep. All right. It's that plastic fencing, construction fencing or something, and those patterns are coming from the dilution sprays in the background. And then on top of that is paste paper. Okay. So these are all paste papers in here. So as you look at them, knowing what I just told you about the sprays and stencils, which is not a traditional paste paper technique at all. It was just something I decided to do and I liked it. And this poor little book has been through better days. But anyway, all of these are paste papers, but you can see the stencil designs in the background and the paste papers on the top. And I don't even know what these papers are. These could be cardstock, could be mixed media papers, probably cardstock, but I don't know. Oh yeah, some papers would be better with acrylic smushed on it. Exactly. That's why I used the scrapbook papers and do this same thing to them. This one has metallic paint on it. I don't know if you can see the glimmer and the light. So this has metallic paint. Metallic paint is great for this technique. These are all paste papers that started with stenciling and dilutions paint as the first layer. This is also metallic. This is a piece of plastic canvas. It was a circle, and then I cut out a circle from the inside to make it a ring, but it's plastic needlepoint canvas. Sorry, my fingers are, for whatever reason, are not working. Again, more metallic paints. So when I do this, when I'm really going to do a whole bunch of it, I take a whole fistful of stencils. I go outside and I do all the spraying on the pieces of paper, let them dry, which usually I do this when it's summertime, so it doesn't take long for them to dry. And then I bring them in, then I have a whole bunch of them ready to go. This design in here and those lines, that comes from using those style sticks, drawing into the paint. That's a wild thing, isn't it? Wild thing. So I just did a whole bunch of papers and then cut them down. And this is where I stamped into the wet paste. That is the bottom of a spool, sewing spool, thread spool or something. I love this one. Ooh, that'll knock your socks off. That'll wake you right up. That will wake you right up. Yeah, so this is like the bottom of a spool of some kind. I don't think it's sewing thread. I think it's actually something else. But anyway. The nice thing too about these, like this has texture that you can feel with your hands as well as see with your eyes. It's not a lot of texture, but you know, it does dry with a little bit. The paint ridges maintain their integrity, which I like. So some of these are incredibly busy, right? Some of them are super busy, but they were such. Here's the inside part of that plastic canvas ring that you saw earlier. But the papers, the whole point of this book was just to have a display of some of the different paste papers that I had done. And if they're in a book, then I won't use them up, right? Because they're in a book. This is metallic paint down here. This, let's see if I can catch it. See it glimmer in the light? So that's metallic. I did not do any real metallics in this group that I did today. The metallic in combination with the flat paints is just gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Okay. Yeah, love this one. Some of them I just particularly love. The color combinations. It's been a while since I've looked through this. I really like this book. I should look at this more often. I didn't even put any quotes or anything. Barbara Clark had a question. How have you bound that book? It's bound, can you see in there? It's bound on a piece of Tyvek. It's bound with a piece of Tyvek. And then I glued the Tyvek to this cover, and then I covered over the Tyvek with another piece of paste paper. So it's bound to Tyvek, or it's stitched to Tyvek, I should say. And then this piece that to create the spine, I just glued it on top. It's a little, you know, wonky. Hi, Mickey, and anybody that I missed. This is another metallic page. I love this one. I love the colors on this. You're welcome. And we're almost done. We're almost done. See, this is what you're seeing in the back. That's the Tyvek. If I were to do that today, I'd probably color that Tyvek, but I did this probably back in 2012. I don't know. I didn't. You should always date your stuff. I didn't date this one because I thought I'd remember. Famous last words. Doesn't that look like summer? Whew. So hopefully you can get some different color combination ideas, and this is the stencil back here. So that stencil didn't hide very much, but I kind of like that. I liked it being very present. This is not one of my favorites, so it's buried in the back of the book. And that's the back. And that's the back. Here's another one that's done in a different format. This is all right, here we go. It's an accordion book, Okay, so it's an accordion book, but it's the same kind of thing. These are paste papers in the background. It's a paste paper treatment in the background, as well as showcasing the various paste papers on the pages. Say that 3 times fast. And then you turn it over and you have more on the other side. So that's just another book. So no matter how you display it, you have, you know, the background is different from one side to the other. That's an easy one. Let's see, this is another one, same kind of thing, it's just smaller. So this is the front cover. Be inspired, create, enjoy. So that was just written inside some of the spaces in the paste paint. This is metallic. This one, the background is roll-off paper, wow, jelly plate printing. So, but it's another accordion book made. Most of this is paste paper. There may be, like this, I think is a jelly plate print, but the rest of these are paste papers, I believe. I think that was the only one. This is the wood grain tool, which I didn't even use today. I think I started to use it once, but it's another one of those accordion books, so you can set it up. You know, you can put it up if you wish. It's a good thing you can display on a mantle, or, you know, however you like to do your stuff. And let's see, these are made with paste paper too. So this is what I was talking about when I said you could cut things up. You know, you don't have to use the big piece, you can just cut it up. This is all paste paper, so die cuts, and then making ATC, so the background and the die cuts are different kinds of paste papers. This was a die also. I love that. Love the movement on that one. And this was a leftover circle from a die, and then put a star on it. So if I get a piece that I really love, I will use every single smidgen of it. This one I absolutely love, those colors. Here's another one. Both of those are paste papers. Let's see, these were made in 2015. This is paste paper here. This back here is, I think, a jelly plate. I think that was done on the jelly plate. I'm pretty sure it was, but this is paste paper here. Probably the same thing on this. This is jelly plate in the back, but this is paste paper. These are paste paper that I wove the strips. So these are woven paste papers. And you could do it this way. You know, it just depends on which way you like to do it. You know, sorry, that was a little fast. So you can do it this way or this way. These are all pre-cut card bases. So I wove big pieces of paste paper and then cut them down to make the fronts. Bye, Marion. See you tomorrow. This is metallic, contrasted with a flat, so you get the contrast. I prefer to weave the fabric, or weave the paper when it's smaller pieces, but this was for a class I was doing, so we had to do it where it was pretty big. And these are just leftover scraps. See, every scrap of this. This is jelly plate, I think, but these are all paste papers. You can make bookmarks. So this is one piece of bookmark, one piece of paper, paste paper. This is paste paper on this book. This was a a purchased scrapbook. So this is paste paper on this and on this. These are, this is paste paper that I cut out. Let's see. I created a stamp, carved a stamp, stamped it on paste paper, cut the pieces out, and then put them on this card. And these are both artist trading cards. Oops, help if I show you just the one layer. So these are both artist trading cards with die cuts on them, all paste paper. That's paste paper on a background, a pre-made background that I jelly plate printed or stamped or something. And these are different kinds of bookmarks, all with the paste paper as well. And again, paste paper on the back and on the back. So those are all things that finished projects to give you ideas of how you can actually do things with a paste paper, so you can make things out of it, or you can just make a book so it's just paste paper, right? Okay, so that is it. Any questions before I go? Remember that the VIP class is tomorrow, and you should have your email with the information, so check your email. And so that is the story of that. So I'm going to take off. I don't see any questions popping up. So thank you so much for being here today. And I'm glad the Muse overruled, because she was determined we weren't art journaling today. We were going to do this. Like, okay, all right, you win. Don't argue with the Muse. Thank you, APG. I'll give you some ideas for some things, okay? All right, remember to get creative today, because you know it's easy. Come over to HowToGetCreative.com, join the membership, get yourself some Mandala Madness cards. We still have some. I don't know what else is coming down the pike. Who knows? When that race comes home, who knows what kind of mischief we'll get into. All right, I will see you guys later. All right, have a great one. Bye for now. See you next week, 2 p.m. Eastern on Friday. See ya.